I clenched my phone so tightly my knuckles turned pale, pacing outside the house that once held every memory of my childhood in Bakersfield. A "for sale" sign now pierced the front lawn. The windows, stripped bare of curtains, looked hollow, lifeless. No furniture inside. Just emptiness. 3 black trash bags sagged on the front porch. I peeked into one. Inside were pieces of my past, my clothes, my books, fragments of the life I'd left behind when I left for college. I had driven 4 hours from campus, expecting the comfort of familiarity during spring break. What I found instead was absence. My name is Jasmine Rojas. I'm a pre-law student with a 3.9 GPA, the one who always followed the rules. I sent most of my scholarship money home every month. Never stepped out of line. And yet here I stood, staring at the shell of a house that no longer belonged to us. From across the street, Mr. Callahan, our longtime neighbor, watched from his porch, brows furrowed. He eventually called my Uncle Thomas. "Your dad said you should have called ahead," he said with hesitation. "They moved out last week. Didn't they tell you?" My throat tightened. No, they didn't say a word. I hung up and immediately dialed my father. Each ring dragged on like a slow echo. Finally, he answered. His voice was distant, cold. "The house is empty," I said, struggling to hold my composure. "My things are in trash bags." "What's happening?" "We moved. You're grown now. Figure it out," he said. And then the line went dead. I tried again. Straight to voicemail. I called my mother. No answer. My brother Gabriel. Nothing. Just like that, I'd been cut off. No message, no goodbye. Not even a forwarding address. As the sun dipped behind the rooftops, shadows stretched across the lawn where my dad and I once planted a maple tree when I was 8. It was still there, its branches reaching out toward a house that had forgotten me. I didn't cry. Instead, I dragged the garbage bags into my car and booked a cheap motel nearby. On a rough, itchy bedspread, I opened each bag like unearthing a time capsule. Textbooks. Winter sweaters. A shattered picture frame with a photo of us smiling at the beach, 3 summers ago. All of them smiling. All of them liars. That night, I made a choice. If they could cut me out of their lives, then I'd erase them from mine. I would create something new, something untouchable. Growing up, I was taught that family was everything. My parents immigrated from Mexico with nothing but grit. My father worked at a factory. My mother cleaned houses. "We came here so you could have a better life," my father would say during dinner. "Education is your future." I took that seriously. While other kids partied, I buried myself in books. I spent summers interning at the courthouse while my classmates picked up mall jobs. My scholarship wasn't just mine, it was supposed to be for them too. A symbol of their sacrifices. My younger brother, Gabriel, was different. He struggled in school, got caught shoplifting more than once. But they always made excuses for him. "He's just trying to find his way," they'd say. Yet somehow, they abandoned me, the one who never gave them trouble. Alone in that motel room, I called Professor Wilkins, my advisor for constitutional law. When I explained what happened, she was stunned. "They just left you?" she asked. "Yes," I said quietly. "I don't know where to go. The dorms are closed for break." "Come stay with me," she offered without hesitation. "We'll figure it out." Her old Victorian home was filled with warmth, overflowing bookshelves, and 2 aging cats. She gave me the guest room and a spare key. "There's no time limit," she said. "Just focus on your studies." Instead of spending spring break relaxing, I buried myself in research. Professor Wilkins helped connect me with a summer internship at Riverton Law Partners, a firm that focused on housing discrimination. The irony wasn't lost on me. "Use it," she said one evening over tea. "The most powerful advocacy comes from lived experience." In one of the trash bags, I found a few old photographs, my quinceañera, high school graduation, milestones they once celebrated and now discarded. I blocked every number. Father, mother, Gabriel, even extended family who might try to explain it away. If anyone asked, I simply said, "We're not in contact." No drama. No tears. Just facts. I was rebuilding from the ground up. That internship at Riverton changed the trajectory of my life. At first, I ran errands and assisted with legal research. But one afternoon, after I calmed a young mother who was panicking over an eviction notice, my supervisor, Eleanor Grayson, took notice. "You really listen," she said. "Most people don't." Soon, I was helping conduct intake interviews. Families displaced by landlords chasing profits. Seniors being pushed out through illegal rent spikes. Students tricked into predatory leases. Their stories hit close to home. One night, after speaking with 3 families who'd received simultaneous eviction notices, I stayed late compiling their case files. Eleanor found me buried in paperwork at 9 p.m. "You're burning the candle at both ends," she said gently. "These families have nowhere to go," I replied. 2 weeks in a motel isn't justice. They'll be on the streets. The system is broken. She looked at me carefully. "So what are you going to do about it?" That question stuck with me. Weeks later, at a university seminar, I learned about a social innovation grant designed to support community-based projects. The deadline was 2 weeks away. I got to work immediately. I drafted a proposal for the Safe Space Initiative, a housing advocacy program aimed at helping students and low-income families. Eleanor helped polish the legal framework. Professor Wilkins reviewed every line. While I waited for the university's decision, the calls from my parents began. 6 months after leaving me behind. "Your mom is worried," my father's voicemail said. No apology. Just entitlement. I didn't respond. More messages followed, pleading, demanding, but never admitting fault. I saved every one of them, but remained silent. When I received news that the university had approved my grant, $25,000 to launch Safe Space, I celebrated with the only people who stood by me, Eleanor and Professor Wilkins. My chosen family. By January, from a converted storage room at Riverton, we had already helped 23 students fight off illegal evictions. Volunteer paralegals and fellow law students joined the cause. It wasn't easy, but every success felt like reclaiming a piece of what I'd lost. The phone calls became relentless. Some days, they came one after another. Then the messages from extended family started pouring in. "Your mother cries herself to sleep," my Aunt Lucia texted. "Can't you just forgive them?" But forgiveness demands truth, and they'd offered none. One gray February afternoon, I was helping a student who'd just found out his landlord had illegally sublet his room. The office line rang. "Safe Space Initiative. This is Jasmine." "Jasmine? Is that you?" My mother's voice. My stomach twisted. "How did you get this number?" "It's listed on your website," she said. "Why haven't you returned any of our calls?" "This is my workplace. Don't contact me here again." "We're your parents," she said, her voice cracking. "We have a right." "You lost that right," I said, cutting her off, "the moment you dumped my belongings into trash bags and sold our home without telling me." "It was your father's decision," she said softly. "The house was being repossessed. We were too ashamed to tell you." I was stunned. Money problems. They had never breathed a word. "If you needed help, you could have told me," I said. "I was sending you money every month." "You know how proud your father is," she replied. I did know. But pride wasn't an excuse for abandonment. "I need to return to work," I told her. "Respect my boundaries." I ended the call, hands trembling. Eleanor found me later, lost in thought. "You all right?" she asked. I explained everything. "Part of me wants to believe there was a reason," I admitted. "Reasons don't excuse betrayal," she said gently. "They had a choice. They chose to disappear." She was right. Still, my mother's voice lingered in my mind. What if it hadn't been malice, but desperation? Despite better judgment, I searched their names online. A Facebook post from my mother, dated just 3 weeks after they moved, showed them beaming in front of a freshly painted house. New beginnings. Feeling blessed. No foreclosure. No sign of struggle. Just a clean break, and no space for me. Meanwhile, Safe Space was gaining momentum. A local TV station aired a feature on our work. Then the university paper published a profile. With the exposure came more cases, more desperate stories than our small team could handle. We need more volunteers and space, I told Eleanor. I might have a lead, she said. The Watkins Foundation is accepting proposals for justice-focused initiatives. I threw myself into it. For weeks, I labored over a 47-page application, detailing SafeSpace's mission, outcomes, and long-term goals. Just 2 days after submitting, I got an unexpected call from Mrs. Hernandez, our old neighbor. Your brother gave me your number, she said. Police found something during a break-in at your old house. An envelope from a law firm, addressed to you. My heart stopped. What does it say? It's about your grandmother's estate. You inherited property in Huatulco, and over $400,000 from the sale of resort condos. Finalized last March. Last March. 1 month before they walked away from me. They had known. The law firm confirmed it. My parents had been informed as my legal guardians. Instead of telling me, they hid the inheritance. Then cast me out. A few days later, just as the funds landed in my account, the Watkins Foundation notified us we were finalists. We'd need to present the full pitch in person. The presentation was set for a Saturday in May. I arrived early, dressed in a sharp navy blazer, heart-pounding but mind-focused. Eleanor arrived, calm as ever. Stick to the stories, she advised. The real people. That's what matters. Halfway through my pitch, the conference room door opened. Ms. Rojas, said William Watkins, the director, there are people here claiming to be your family. They're asking to see you. My parents. And Gabriel. Tell them I'll speak with them after the presentation, I said evenly. This is my priority. I finished the pitch on autopilot, answered every question, made my case. When I stepped outside, they were waiting. My mother stood first, hopeful, wary. My father sat stiffly, his face unreadable. Gabriel looked at the floor. Why are you here? I asked, steady. How did you find me? We saw the article, my mother said. We've been trying to reach you. 247 missed calls, I said. I noticed. This has gone on long enough, my father snapped. You're being immature. I let out a quiet, bitter laugh. Immature? You sold our home, trashed my belongings, and disappeared without a word. And I'm the child. My mother stepped in. We made a terrible mistake. We want to make it right. Now. After I built everything on my own. Why now? We saw what you've done, my father admitted. We realized we lost something precious. Your successful daughter? I asked. No, my mother said. Our family. At a nearby coffee shop, they tried to explain. The house was going into foreclosure. My father had lost his job. They were ashamed. You knew about my inheritance, I said. You didn't tell me. We found out right after you left for school, my father said. We thought we could recover financially before you ever knew. So you chose to disappear. We panicked, my mother whispered. We thought you'd be better off without the mess we were in. And now? I asked, voice low. They regret it, Gabriel said. They know they hurt you. I studied them across the table. They looked smaller now, older, but not remorseful in the way I needed. I wasn't that abandoned girl anymore. I've built a life surrounded by people who see me, who respect me, I said. Family doesn't throw you away. I left enough cash on the table for the drinks and walked out, not in anger, but in power. The Watkins Foundation awarded SafeSpace the full $300,000 grant, plus $50,000 for operational growth. A national media outlet ran a story on our work, reaching millions. After that, the phone calls stopped. The inheritance gave me independence. But SafeSpace gave me purpose. I had forged a family, one chosen, not inherited. Eleanor. Professor Wilkins. The clients we lifted up together. And for the first time, I understood. My worth was never theirs to define.